Welcome to episode 2 of the Rest Days Community Podcast. If you missed episode 1 with the incredibly creative, talented community builder Claire Sharp, you can go back anytime and have a listen. This week, we're talking to Jess Fawcett. Along with being one of the most stabilizing and calming influences in my life, Jess happens to be an incredibly accomplished athlete and advocate for women in sport. Jess grew up doing high-level amateur running before transitioning into cycling, completing ultra-distance events such as London, Edinburgh, London. This led her to be a part of a revolutionary team, the Internationals, who fight for gender equality in cycling. Through her time with them, she completed a number of mind-blowing challenges and broke a world record. Jess is very good at holding me accountable to looking after myself, but as we found out, it took a long time for her to develop this balanced mindset, with many twists along the way. I hope you enjoy her beautiful story. Jess, welcome to the Rest Days podcast. Thank you so much for agreeing to do this. We have been talking about this for a long time because we are friends in our normal life, and I've been rambling away to you about it. I'm really excited to hear some of the stories you have to share. I think we should just dive right in, back in your childhood when you were first starting to get into running and doing things at school. Tell us your story.
Okay. Hello, what an introduction. Thank you for having me. I think the first sort of experience I had of feeling the pressure to succeed was through schooling. I ended up at private school for my secondary education, which was sort of not the plan for our family really. But through a strange series of events and like assisted places and various things, myself and my 3 older sisters ended up at the same private school. I was there essentially on the understanding that as long as I did absolutely nothing wrong and I worked hard, I would be able to stay there. But as soon as I put a foot wrong, I'd be gone. That was kind of the message I got given when I got my place at the school. So I suspect, after having various bits of therapy and stuff in my more recent life, that that's probably where I developed a sort of need to do well and achieve standards and get an A at everything, and sort of anything below a good grade or a fast time or wherever you want to sort of apply these boundaries, that anything below the best was not good enough. And obviously that sort of time of your life, when, what are you, about 11 when you start, is, I think you form quite a lot of your traits there.
Yes.
Because it definitely didn't come from my sort of family setup. I'm really lucky. I have these 3 sisters and we're all fairly close in age, but we're not competitive with each other at all. So it didn't come from there. So yes, but slightly before secondary school age, when I was about 10 is when I started running. And my family we enjoyed a Sunday walk, but other than that, we weren't a particularly outdoorsy family. And so I got into running through a friend at my junior school whose mother was a coach at the local running club, and she took a small group of us for a probably 1k run or something at the allotments, and I loved it. And then she said, you know, there's cross country that you can do. So then that same little group of us went to this cross country. And I remember beforehand, one of the little boys, William, was like, I think Jess is going to be the worst of everyone.
What?
He's like, Marissa's going to do really well and Jess is not going to do well. And so I think that lit a little fire in my belly, and I did this race, and there was 250 kids, and I came 13th after having lost a shoe and run back for it. And they give you a little raffle ticket at the end with your number on, and I've still got that, and it has 13 on it. And I remember being, oh, quite good at this.
Whoa.
And that was like my intro to running, and it was very child friendly, I would say. Like my mum and dad really supported me, but they didn't push me.
So that's quite wholesome, actually.
It was really nice, and all the other kids that went to that one race never did it again. I loved it.
Isn't it amazing that these little things, so your friend's mum, if she'd never done that, made that effort, taken you guys, suggested you do it, your whole life trajectory might have been different.
Yeah, it's mad, isn't it?
It's wild.
It's wild. I have an uncle who did a lot of running, and you know, he was the same age as Seb Coe and in the same sort of schooling, so he used to run cross country with Seb Coe. So there's always been this thing of like, he could have been, you know, that level, but he got pleurisy. That kind of put a pin in his running for a while, and then as an older adult he did marathons and he was pretty good. So I think I've always sort of thought my ability or whatever comes from the same sort of genes as my uncle.
Whoa, I never knew that about you, actually. I mean, I knew that you had an uncle who ran. I didn't know that he ran against Seb Coe.
Yeah.
Wow, you
cool,
got some
isn't it?
good genes, Jess. Okay, this explains a lot now. I feel much less bad when I'm huffing and puffing up the hill behind you now. That's made me feel a bit better.
No.
Yeah. Okay, well, there you go. That's really interesting. Okay, so let's talk a little bit. I want to hear more about both of those things, but first I thought we could talk a little bit about school, and your experiences, because I wonder if that has carried all the way into your life, this feeling of I can only be here if I am absolutely working at my hardest. There's this driver of push and pull. You're kind of being, you're not aiming towards something, you're terrified of failure in that situation.
Yeah.
How has that affected you?
A lot. Let's try not to make this a therapy session. So to put a positive spin on it, I think that mindset has made me successful in various things. I'm quite proud of my ability to push myself. It's something, if I'm having a job interview or, I don't know, doing something like this, I'd say I'm quite motivated, I'm quite self-motivated. I don't really need someone to tell me to do something.
Yeah.
I've been told I might have this sort of fear of failure or / a fixed mindset, whereas a more positive way of going about things is having a growth mindset. So I am definitely pushed by, I don't want to be the worst, I don't want to be last. But I think the negative bit of that is that I'm not saying I want to be the best. I'm going, I don't want to be the worst at this.
Yeah.
And there's quite a fine line between those two things, I think. I think now I'm older, I've sort of come through it a bit, but there was definitely a time in my life where that was probably negatively pushing me.
That makes a lot of sense. So I want to ask, have you ever been last at anything?
Well, so I think, and I would say this openly, I tend not to like things I'm not good at. And I feel embarrassed about that. I think that's not a cool trait. But
no, I actually think that's very, very common.
I wish I was a person that's like, yeah, I'll give it a go. But if I think that I'll be not successful at it, I'll probably try to avoid it.
Okay, so even your pre-perception would put you off.
Yeah.
So it doesn't have to be you tried something and you weren't very good at
no,
it. You would maybe just not even try it.
Possibly. I think having a nice supportive group around you or friends, somewhere I feel safe, I will try something. So a great example, Peak Gravel Gang. I'd one time taken myself off on a gravel bike that I basically bought as a winter bike, thinking if I ever suddenly become brave and have a personality transplant, I can start doing off-road riding. And then I did one ride, tried to make a route. It was probably a mountain bike route. I had a pretty awful time, but I was by myself, so I was like, it's okay. Nobody saw. Nobody saw how bad I was. And then kind of resigned myself to having this bike that I would just ride on the road in winter. And then, you started Peak Gravel Gang, and I did try that, but I was pretty out of my comfort zone, and I still am actually some days. If I'm in the wrong sort of headspace, I'm not good at failing at stuff, and because I'm not used to it, because I don't put myself in a position where I might fail, maybe I haven't had a practice at it. Now, however, I don't win loads of stuff. My whole running career, I was a supporting role.
But you were still successful. You've had some really good results.
Yeah, and I enjoyed my time as well. And I sort of accepted my position as the team player. Like, I can get points in this cross-country team and will win the nationals.
Yeah.
And that ticked boxes for me.
Yeah.
I'm good at not winning.
Yeah.
But I don't think I'm very good at just completely failing something. But I don't really know, because I don't think I've put myself in a position to find out.
It's so interesting as well, because what would be a failure? Somebody has to come last in a race.
Yeah.
So is that failing? Because should that person not have turned up? If they don't turn up, then the next person after them would have been last.
This is the thing. I would never think that of any.
Yeah.
When I go and watch the London Marathon quite often, because it's a fun thing to watch. I stand there for hours and I'll watch the kind of last few people go through, and I'm filled with so much admiration, because I look at those people and I think I couldn't do, if I didn't have basically what I feel is a natural ability to run, and I enjoy it. I don't have to force myself to do that. I enjoy it. Imagine dragging yourself around a run that you're not enjoying for 8 hours or however long it takes, and going over the finish line. I'm in floods of I'm crying usually when I watch.
Wow.
I cry because that is like a strength of character that I don't perceive that I have.
Oh my gosh, you have that so much. You have no idea.
I'm not sure. But so I don't look at, this is that whole thing about how would you treat other people, treat yourself that same way. I would never, I'm actually more impressed by the person that comes in last than the person that comes in first. But I don't apply that same grace to myself.
Oh, it's so interesting.
Yeah.
Wow. You mentioned the peak gravel gang, and sometimes you feel out of your comfort zone there. To me, the point of the peak gravel gang is you can't fail.
Yeah.
Or that's part of the beauty of it. I know, because of all the people who've come and told me, that you're a very good, I mean, I know because I've seen you ride, but I know that other people also think this as well as me, that you're a very good rider, and you're especially have been incredibly fit, and that also you look really cool doing it. Everybody thinks you look the part. So you, even though from the outside everybody thinks that, you still have times when you're on that ride and you're getting the buzzword imposter syndrome.
Yeah, definitely. I'm sort of like cringing inside, I suppose, is the way. And it's definitely not, Peak Gravel Gang is the most joyous, most friendly, most lovely group, but this is completely a self-imposed kind of, oh no, how embarrassing, I put my foot down, or like I didn't get up that hill.
To be fair, I can ride really well technically.
Yeah.
And I get that.
Yeah, I think we all get it. I also think it's hormonal. Do you know, like definitely some weeks in the month, I'm just like, everything is like, my
so
anxiety levels definitely seem to change.
It's so
cyclically.
True.
Yeah.
I really think my belief is that we all need community in some way or another,
100%.
and that's really healthy for us. The community in Peak Gravel Gang, I wanted people of every ability to find something they needed from it.
Yeah.
So if people are not doing much sport and they're spending loads of time working, or they've got loads of other things going on in their life, they're caring for people, stressful stuff, they can come and this can be their escape. And we say, you give yourself this, it's great for you, have a break. But I also really love that you summed up this other aspect, which I think me, you and Hetty, who all run Peak Gravel Gang, have all benefited from, which is that you can be really driven, have done proper training, and really, you're somebody who really pushes yourself, but there can also be this safe space where you don't need to do that, and you don't need to be that person, you don't need to be good. It's good, I think, for everybody to have something like that, actually. And I wonder how that changed, before Gravel Gang, you basically had never had something like that.
No,
is that what you're saying?
every sporting environment I put myself in was one where I wanted to compete and excel. Running is very, you're on leaderboards. Did you have Power of 10?
Yeah.
Do you remember it? Yeah. So you're literally ranked.
Yeah.
And I would look at my ranking, and I had times I was trying to hit, and you're constantly graded. And then when I got into cycling, I then put myself in that position again. I did time trialing and tried to race and various things. So it's constantly being, you're kind of good or not good. And Peak Gravel Gang is not that.
No,
the
not
times
at all.
I feel any sort of anxiety is when because we are leaders. And my favourite role I often is bringing up the rear, and I love that. It's when I feel, if I'm leading, that's when I get imposter syndrome, basically. And I have this notion in my mind that I'm not setting a good example which is ridiculous, because actually the best example is I can get off and walk.
I know.
And that's fine.
When we first met, I asked you to be a leader because you have lots of on the bike experience and you have done group riding. I knew you had the skill set. And I wanted you to be a leader because I knew you would probably get off the bike sometimes, and I wanted to set that example.
Yeah.
So you were doing your job perfectly. You're not failing. You couldn't have done it better, in fact. That's what I wanted.
Oh my gosh, thank you. Did
However,
I get an A?
Now I'm
did I get
thinking
an
I've
A?
put you through some emotional stress by doing that. So
No, it's growth.
yeah, growth.
It is. No, it's good.
Also, just to say, anybody who doesn't know what Power of 10 is, basically like a national database where your times from track races, running races, go on 5k PBs, that kind of thing, and you can compare yourself to different people. It's like pre-Strava, kind of before that, before there was segments and things. It's pretty harsh, especially because I think the biggest market for it is teenagers, probably.
Yeah.
Which is, I think, quite difficult.
And it has your whole history. It's amazing. It's
Yeah.
just got everything. So if you're a certain mindset, I can imagine, I think, becoming quite obsessed with it if you're that way inclined.
Yeah, absolutely, I'm sure. But I think a lot of these sports where we're chasing a time, I think they're very easily to become obsessive, but it's dangerous because there's so many uncontrollables that affect them.
Yeah.
And that's when people become more obsessive with trying to control the controllables.
Yeah.
So then they become more obsessive with the training, the eating, the behaviours around it, because then there'll be a day where they had a headwind and they didn't run well. And instead of saying, well, it's because of the headwind, they'll go be like, I have to train harder.
Yeah. I was slow. And I think that was a thing I enjoyed about cycling, is the conditions are taken into account.
Yeah, I think definitely. Definitely something like time trial.
Yeah.
I think everybody is just super aware of that, aren't they?
Yeah. Whereas running, it just felt like you just had to be fast. Didn't matter what the day
Yeah.
threw at you. You just
Especially
had to
cross
go.
country, I think is kind of like that. It's very brutal. It's like snow on the ground, doesn't matter. Get your vest on, get your tiny shorts on, and off you go out. That's that.
I literally used to run in basically a bikini.
Yeah,
It was
exactly.
insane.
Around a snowy field.
Yeah, but I'd have arm warmers on. It was wild.
Yes, that is a look, isn't it? The gap between your running vest and your arm
Yeah.
warmer, where your shoulder is bare skin sticking out.
Yeah, wild. What were we doing?
Yeah, it was quite funny. But if that's the thing to fit in, you want to do it,
That's
don't you?
it. That's what the fast girls were doing. So
You have to do it.
Yeah.
Yeah, it makes sense.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's true. It's kind of, when we do these things as well, you see people on the TV, if they've done their hair a certain way, they've got this earrings in, that kind of thing. I might run faster if I do it like that.
Yeah. My friend always calls, the running pants. She calls them Pavey pants because the first time she saw someone running them was Joe Pavey. And so now she's like, did you wear Pavey pants? I was never brave enough for the pants.
No.
Just short shorts.
I think there's too much maintenance
Too
required
much.
for that.
Yeah, it's like, nah.
Yeah. Okay, so we talked about running from fear of failure, but then you also talked about this growth mindset. Talk to me about what that is as an alternative outlook.
So people with a growth mindset seem to be able to maybe not do so well at something and just learn from it and go, well, that didn't go so well, so I'll just try again next time. Or what did I learn from that situation? And then the fixed mindset is just, that was awful. I never want to feel that feeling again. How do I avoid it? And so rather than chasing being better, you're just running away from being bad.
Yeah. I think it's quite a sign when you can't cope with the bad days. That's such a sign. I've been in this position myself. It's the runners who you see who cry at the end of the race.
Yeah.
Or their mood is so badly affected. Their life is affected so much by a bad result. And it's not, I think from the outside, somebody maybe didn't understand that might think those people are being bad losers. I don't think they're being bad losers. It's I think they're hammering themselves.
Yeah, giving themselves a really hard time.
Yeah. And I think that's the first sign. I think that they don't have that growth mindset because they're not going, this is just a day on the journey.
Yeah.
This was a learning. What can I take from it? They just immediately go, you're a massive failure. Why? How did you screw this up again?
Yeah, it's the end of the world.
Yeah.
Yeah. It is strange though, because I think I was protected from it a little bit because I was in this situation where I was in a really good team of runners. So I was able to have this sort of collective success, because there was a few years where we would turn up and if we were all fit and healthy, we would win. It was a very fun time to be a runner. So I think although sometimes I wouldn't hit my personal goal, we'd win a medal. And so then I was like, okay, I didn't do that well, but I did well enough to support my team to do well. So I think that sort of cocooned me from the worst of my own internal kind of monologue.
Yeah.
And I was trying to think, because I think I just never wanted to let the team down then. So then that's where I would push myself and push myself and push myself, because I wasn't trying to win for me. I just didn't want to be the one that meant the team didn't win.
So again, you didn't want to be the problem.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I'd be running, I don't know, when I was a bit ill or when I had a bit of a niggle and I really should have stopped. But I didn't want to be the one that let the side down.
Yeah. I think you have to do that a few times at least to learn. I'm not
100%.
sure you can ever just be told, don't do it, and just not do it. If you really care about something to the level that you have to care to get good results at a high level, I don't think you can just be told
No,
and then just listen. Especially not as a teenager.
no way, no. And it was my whole personality. I went to school, did my schoolwork because I had to, but being a runner and being good at running was my like identifier.
Yeah.
Which
is another big problem, I think. I mean, it's good because you're part of something. You really feel like you belong, and that's a really important thing for human beings. But also, if you are injured and you can't go running, who are you?
Yeah. And I really struggled with that when I was younger. I've learnt now, like I'm happy I can sort of talk back on it because I'm different and I've learnt to get past that. But it took a long time. I'm 35 now. I reckon probably really when I hit 30, maybe I finally learned that my sort of success doing physical activity doesn't define who I am.
Yeah.
But that's a long time.
No,
I started running when I was 10, so it took me 20 years to learn a healthy mindset.
Yeah. I think I only learned that I wasn't completely defined by it because it was taken away for a period of time, and I didn't lose all my friends.
Yeah.
And I still people wanted to talk to me, and I was like, oh, there is value to me other than just doing sport. But it is very interesting, isn't it? That's really difficult. My two ideas about how we help people with that is that we encourage people to do a more diverse range of things when they're younger, because specialising early might not actually necessarily be a good thing. I mean, there's lots of people who believe that specialising early is a road to burnout.
Yeah.
So actually, maybe you are a runner, but you also do some tennis on the side, and you play a musical instrument or something.
Yeah.
Which all three of those I know are things that are only really open to people who are very privileged, so I've not given the best examples. But there is a way to do a few things to keep yourself so that you're not only identifying as this one thing.
Yeah.
I think, because the thing is, 99% of us, more than 99, most of us are not going to the Olympics.
Yeah.
So
sadly.
So we can protect the mental and physical health of these young people by helping them diversify. And you know what? Even if it risks the fact that they will not perform as well, it doesn't really matter, because most of them weren't going to the Olympics anyway.
That's it.
And for the couple that are, I suspect they're talented enough, and that the having some other things going on in their life won't actually be a bad thing anyway. And, but yeah, that's my kind of, I wonder if that's one way to help with that problem.
Definitely.
Is for people to not just have this one thing from so early on in their life.
The people I know that are still running now and sort of running strongly were not runners actually when they were that young, or they ran a bit but they did ballet, which I know we've talked about before, or they were a dancer, or they did some sort of martial arts. Something that's laid a very good foundation. The people I know who are really high achieving runners at about 15 years old most of them aren't even running for pleasure anymore.
Yeah.
Which is such a shame.
Yeah.
And they had, success at that young age when it was probably great and led to some things. Maybe they went to America on a scholarship or something like that, but it's not resulted in a professional sports career kind of. So it's something, if I have kids, I'm definitely going to bear in mind, like if they show an aptitude for something, to sort of embrace it, but also be like, okay, we're also going to do crafting and reading, and just I think you're totally right. There just needs to be a balance of things so that then when if it's taken away from them, they don't feel like they've lost everything.
Also, having gone through elite sport, it's funny because I don't know if I even... It's so beautiful and wonderful and it's magical and it opens doors and experiences you struggle to get elsewhere maybe. But it is quite a painful thing to do. Yeah. And I don't know if I'd want my kids. I don't know if I want my kids. I think even of my younger brother, he was a really good runner as a teenager, and there was a little core group of them kind of competing against each other. One of them did go on to win Olympic medals and world champs medals, but one of them did. The rest of them, I don't think they're doing much running now. Yeah. I don't know, and I think all of them probably had a fairly unhappy exit from it. I know certainly that my brother did. Yeah. So I don't know if it, like, if you encourage your kid to do something like that, they might be the guy who made it to the Olympics. Yeah. But they're more likely to be the ones who has had a pretty rubbish ending to the...
It's a tricky little knife edge situation because it's how much do you push yourself or their child because they could achieve this greatness. Yeah, but you don't want to go too far. That my mum and dad were very good, very supportive. If some days I'd finish my homework and I was meant to be going to training and I'd be like, I can't really be bothered, mum would sort of challenge me. She'd be like, do you mean that? We don't have to go, but I just want to check that you're not going to turn around later and be like, I wish I'd gone. Yeah. Kind of. So she would check me. But she was never going, you're going to training, like, we're doing this, you need to train. Yeah.
Yeah, which is good. But I think as well, when you're younger, you do need some structure and you need 100%. To go sometimes to, because there are people in our generation now who just sack everything off when they can't be bothered or when things get hard. And I wonder if when they said, I don't want to go, their parents went, okay, don't bother then. Yeah. I think there needs to be a bit of, no, you've committed to this thing. You should go if you're feeling up to it. Yeah. Obviously, the caveat to that is if you're ill, injured, whatever, don't go. But if you are feeling up to it, you've committed to this thing, you should see it out. Yeah. Is a good life lesson.
I think so, yeah. So they did that really well, I think, for me. So I'm lucky. I come out relatively unscathed. I still run. I still love running. And I think that's because they were so balanced with me. Whereas there were other parents in our group who would come to the track and be the other sort of bend away from where our actual coach was with their own stopwatch, like essentially whispering things to their own child, like, go a bit quicker, and like, you should be going around her, and kind of adding this element of pressure and stress that was so unnecessary. We had a really great coach and he was very chill, but he was good at what he did. And I'm always really grateful to him as well, because he had a very balanced approach and understood that we were teenagers. Yeah. And this was our like evening after school, so if we were all running around chatting, he'd kind of make a joke about it, but he let us, but he wouldn't be like, silence, like, this is, he'd be like, God, you guys are running so fast and you're chatting, like, it was nice. In loads of ways I had a really positive running experience. It was only me giving myself a hard time in that scenario.
Yeah, and you continued to do that, didn't you? So you went to a particularly difficult university environment and worked yourself pretty hard, didn't you?
Yeah, so I decided to go to the Uni of Birmingham because its reputation of producing high caliber athletes, basically, and it had a track on campus, and it was very geared towards producing high performing athletes. And I was like, right, I've spent my teen years as sort of like a supporting role. Let's see if I can do well for myself, essentially. I think that was kind of my thinking. So I picked my degree and managed to get a place Uni of Birmingham, and it was like as soon as I got there I was just injured. I think I arrived injured. I probably ramped up my running to try and like be ready to get there, and then spent all 3 years essentially doing something called aqua jogging, which is where you wear a flotation device and run up and down a pool. And I was just so determined to be fit and to be able to train with these people that I would do that despite I hate swimming pools. I hate chlorine. My hair is thick and annoying. I don't like it. You know, and I did that. I did it day after day. I would go to the strength and conditioning kind of group classes that we could do as a team, but that was really the only thing I could join in with. I probably did less than 10 running sessions with the whole group in the whole time I was there.
Wow, that's actually, when you put it in numbers like that.
Yeah.
Wow. So in 3 years.
Yeah. Because I would do all this jogging, have physio, do my strength work, get to a point where I was maybe ready to start running a bit and go straight out on the Sunday long run. Because I was like, I'm back. And I wanted to hang out with everyone, and they were my people, and that was my social group. So it was really hard to control that compulsion. And I didn't, because I wasn't performing well at all, I didn't have a particular coach keeping an eye on me. So there was no one to say, don't do that. So then I'd inevitably get injured basically immediately and then go back to square one. And then after a while, ditched the swimming, so it was so annoying, the swimming and the aqua jogging, and started doing spin classes. And there was the spin instructor was also a triathlon coach, and his little joy in life was taking injured runners and turning them into triathletes. He was like, Maha, this is how to kind of make the best out of this situation. But I was very determined to not be a triathlete just because swimming, not my vibe. Pool, yeah. It was just not for me.
That's fair enough.
But I like the cycling, I like the spinning.
Yeah.
Before
we jump on to where that takes you, I just think the two things that I picked up on that are that before you even went to the uni, you were scared of being the worst one there, or not keeping up, or not being...
Of them being like, why are you here?
Yeah. Like you said, the large part of why you picked that university is because of the sporting opportunities, but you're also actually there to get a degree.
Yeah.
But you're more worried about this part, and also, again, it's kind of funny that, because it's not something you don't have to qualify to be in the athletics club.
No.
Anybody can join.
Yeah.
Right?
Just rock up. Yeah.
So how does our brain do that? You know, you could have just gone. You could have gone to just the socials. You could have never run a day with them. Yeah. There are people who do that. And that would be, you know. My brain
wouldn't be like proper and correct.
No, I get that, but it's interesting, isn't it? Yeah. Why did your brain say that? And it's also clear, I think, that this was a bit of a turning point where it went from joyous and sociable and balanced and everybody's kind of saying the right things and making it in a nice environment to you're suddenly now aqua jogging up and down a pool, which you absolutely hate.
Yeah. Isolated. It wasn't fun.
Not fun.
No.
But you still did it.
Yeah.
So you weren't doing this for joy anymore.
No. By then the kind of, I guess it's like endorphin addiction. Do you know, I was used to this sort of structured way of living. It does make you feel good. Like you do something hard and then you get a rush of endorphins, and then I have this thing where I'm like, the meal afterwards, the shower after, like everything after doing something difficult feels doubly great.
Yeah.
So that whole thing, that package, I was addicted to that then. Yeah. So even though realistically I was just probably doing myself more damage than good, I still had this compulsion to train and do my training, and
it's just such an easily addictive thing. I don't know why fully. There's a lot about control, there's a lot about you know. Did you think if you stopped the whole world would unravel?
I didn't know what I was without that.
Yeah.
I still have it now. I'm like, what do people do if they're not if they're not going to the gym and they're not going running and they're not doing this? Like, what are they spending their time doing?
Yeah. But it's kind of also funny because if you weren't running. You did 10 sessions in the whole of your...
Yeah.
I think everybody who goes for a run is a runner.
Yeah.
But in this version of your world, you know, at this point in your life, you're saying, if I go aqua jogging, I'm still a runner.
Yeah.
It's hilarious.
It's wild. Yeah. I was like, if this became a competition, I'd probably do really well at it. So yeah, I can definitely tell myself little lies. That's but I don't know. I think I managed to do 2 or maybe even 3 of the books, the British University. What does books?
Yeah, British University Championships.
Super duper. Managed to do the books cross country each year. I managed to drag myself to start line and get round. But then even then, I think every time I was a bit like, why did I do that? Because now I feel embarrassed because I'm injured and I didn't even do well. But I put on my kit and I went.
I feel for you so much in this period. I think it must have been a really hard time mentally. Yeah. I'm sure that at the time you thought that you were keeping yourself afloat because you had your structure, you did your aqua dogging, you did you did your rehab. Yeah. So you were probably kind of felt like you were keeping yourself, but I bet you were actually quite sad.
Yeah, it was tough. And so then I was like, well, I'm not doing, well at running, so now I need to nail my degree. So I was sort of trying to do both. I was getting up very early to go and do this ridiculous aqua jogging and then go to all my lectures because I couldn't possibly miss a single lecture because that's naughty. That's how my brain works. And then go probably to circuit training, which would have been in the afternoon or evening. And if that wasn't on, I was going to yoga or to a physio. Do you know, so I was still structuring my day as though I was a kind of full-time running person and still identifying as that, but then also still trying to, of course, my goal wasn't just get the degree, it was like I need to get a first in my degree. So I was just pushing myself hard all the time from every angle. I went out and had fun, but I think now looking back, and if I was telling myself as a young person, I would have probably said have more fun, go to more of the parties, like be a bit sillier, learn a bit more of the life lessons that people learn. But I treated it like school and like training camp, and I was very strict on myself. And I came out with a 2-1, which was fine, but it wasn't what I wanted. And so it was about 1% off at first, so it's just like, I did not quite enough. And it hasn't mattered whatsoever.
Of course it hasn't. This is why it's always so hilarious when you look back on these things. So for anybody who's not used to that system, a first is the kind of top. It's like getting an A. A 2-1's kind of like getting a B. I guess is the easiest way to compare. But they are both fantastic results, and you will get a job if you have, in most things, if you are a person who can apply themselves, and that these numbers don't really matter.
And it's just like, I wish people would have told that to me and I just wouldn't have listened. I'd have gone, no, I've come here, I'm going to do this, I'm going to get my first, I'm going to be the best at it.
You needed it for you though. It's not like you even at that point had a career in mind or something. You weren't like, I need this first because it will get me into this company where I'm going to do this. No. You just needed it for you. Just needed
to do the best possible thing. Again, mum and dad were just like, don't worry about it, like that they know I'll push myself, so I think they don't bother pushing me. So they weren't on my back.
And you're the youngest child, so kind of given up by you.
They're like, the other 3 are fine.
So you'll be fine. You'll be fine. I don't hear you talk about uni friends as much.
No, it was hard, I guess, because I was trying to fit in so hard with the athletics crew. And then actually that turned not so great. I ended up in a house of 6 female athletes, of which 4 had disordered eating or an eating disorder. So that was not, that was quite a difficult environment to be in. And I think, and they were all my friends, but I think it was just difficult, and I think I came away from it a bit like, oh gosh, it's quite stressful to live like that. I'm in touch with a couple of them, but they're not super close friends. And then my 2 sort of course friends, I'm still in touch with. But my real close friends are sort of friends from post-university, and then my senior school friends. Uni is a bit of a weird gap, I guess.
When I hear you talk about the times pre and post, running with joy and team and camaraderie, and you have one amazing friend from that you've had, Laura, who's given you so much, and you guys have probably really helped each other have healthy relationships running at that point. Then there's this part of uni, and then afterwards you did let go a little bit more as well. You did a bit more socializing in London. You have some friends that don't exercise loads.
Yeah.
You know.
Although I try to pull them into my way of
Yeah. I know what that's like. So how did you come back around from this period at university? Obviously it was started touching on there were some wheels involved.
Yes. So yeah, my third year at uni I sort of got into spin biking. And I loved it. I did maintain, I guess, quite good cardiovascular fitness from all my aqua jogging. So I got on the bike and was sort of pretty able to just do it. Once I'd learned kind of bike handling skills a little bit and how to clip in and, you know, changing gear and stuff, as long as I kept snacking, I was like, oh, I could just keep going. I can keep going and it doesn't hurt. And I got so used to running just hurting. Even when I'd rehabbed myself, I'd go back and be like, I shouldn't hurt, but I'll just carry on.
It was just hurting.
Just hurts.
This hobby.
Yeah.
You love so much.
Yeah. It still does it to me now.
Yeah.
And I still love it. It's interesting. I think I'm just obsessed with it. But cycling was this thing that I could do and it didn't hurt. And I didn't have to try that hard to be quite good at it. Insofar as, so I hadn't tried to compete or anything, but I could keep up on rides and I didn't find it very stressful, and other people seemed to be sort of struggling more than I was, and I was like, oh, I can do this is nice. And then I moved to London, and being a Yorkshire girl, I was like, how can I make this whole thing more affordable? So I decided commuting by bike was the most cost-effective way of doing things. So I got myself a road bike and like baptism of fire, just started riding from East London to West London every day, there and back, and loved it. I'd have probably a close shave with traffic most of those days. And I got used to it. Like it, not blasé, but I think that's almost the only way you can cope with it, because if I had the appropriate amount of fear every time, I probably wouldn't have kept doing it, and then I would have maybe not cycled. But I was very cautious, so I think that's how I managed to come away unscathed. But I met people riding bikes, and then that became more of a hobby than just a way to commute. So I would go part of my journey to Regent's Park, cycle around with this group of friends, have a lovely sort of coffee and pastry in the morning before work, and get to work, do my day's work at, you know, very sort of desk job role, and then cycle home or cycle to a gym and meet another friend. And this sort of became my routine, and I was sort of quietly getting quite good at riding bikes and building up this base of fitness, and meeting loads of really cool people and exploring London in a way that I think you can kind of only do by bike.
This was a very full-on part of your life, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was so fun, and I look back on it very fondly, but I also look back on it with, wow, how did I maintain that? Because my days were very long. I would wake up super early to be able to do the sort of pre-work bike riding. Then I would have a full-on day at work. I'm a medical editor, so I have to concentrate very hard and really kind of apply my brain all day. It's a very full-on sort of 9 to 5, but it is very good insofar as it was rarely anything more than 9 to 5. Like overtime's not really a thing in that role. And then I was always still in the back of my mind, I'm a runner. So yeah, I'd try to go to the gym so that I could do sort of strength and conditioning, and then on Sundays I'd still try to do like long runs with my friend Laura, who also lived in London at the time, and we would just do mad things as well, where we'd have both had our full-on day at work, go and do something at the gym, or we had a phase of doing back-to-back spin classes, so we'd do 2 hours of spinning.
My goodness.
And then be like, let's go and get some chicken. We'd have some sort of like meal out, and then depending on the day of the week, either get a train back together or I would cycle back, and she would sometimes run because she is a runner and is never injured, perpetually fine. And we'd be home at like 11ish at night, and then I'd set my alarm and go again. And I would tell myself, so by this time I've sort of got into doing Audax type events, which are very long distance events, sometimes multi-day.
Cycling,
yep. And I got into my head being kind of sleep deprived and then getting up and going again was good training for these. Or if I'd gone out and had drinks on a Friday night and then got up at 5 a.m. on Saturday to ride to Brighton, I was like, brilliant training. I am dehydrated.
I think there's something in that. I'm not gonna poo-poo it completely. I think there's probably something in that mentally you knew you could do it.
Yeah.
I don't think that consistently doing that is good training.
I don't think long term.
No, you must have been teetering on a tightrope here.
I think so. And I don't know how, but I did come away, came away from it in terms of my health unscathed. I managed it. I don't know how.
But this also, we all are lucky in different ways. If you push yourself even a tiny bit too much in the running side of things, you'll just get injured straight away.
Yeah.
But maybe you could cope with this more than some people could.
Yeah, definitely in my 20s.
Yeah, maybe not now.
No.
I kind of think there's something good about just throwing yourself into life like that. I don't think we should all just shy away. Rest days isn't about everybody now forevermore having perfect amount of sleeps every single night, never doing anything a bit crazy, not trying challenges, but it's about doing it and recognizing how sustainable it is.
Yeah, and I was conscious that it wouldn't last forever, I think. And there's a saying I actually do like, and it's everything in moderation, including moderation. So there's times to go a bit over the top in whatever way that might
like
be.
That.
Yeah, it's nice. And you can't always be really careful.
No.
That's not like joyous and fun.
You don't get anything in life
and
from
you don't
always doing that
achieve,
either.
Yeah, so, but there was definitely a point where I was like, I'm tired now. It was like, I sort of realised I was just like, I'm tired. I can't sustain this life. But I did that I'd say 5 years, basically my whole time in London. And then there was a point where my partner and I were like, are you really tired? I'm really tired. But we had to sort of take ourselves out of the situation, I think, because otherwise you do feel like you're missing.
Yeah.
People were always doing stuff. There was always cool things. And I didn't want to miss any of it.
Yeah.
So I did it all. And I think that maybe came because university, I did miss a lot of stuff.
Yeah.
So I wonder if I had my little...
And you're such a sociable person. Something in I think that point in your life you really clicked that's what really feeds you.
Yeah.
And so you were kind of making up for lost time once you realised that. I
think so. And like the conversations I would have on the bike, amazing.
Yeah.
I think it's something about being side by side with someone and you're sort of talking into space, and actually they are there and they're listening, and you're having and you end up I talk to relative strangers about really deep stuff because they'd come around in the group and just be next to you, so you just be like, how are you doing? And then and I've got some such strong friendships. I've got a sort of WhatsApp group with that sort of original Regent's Park, and we are all in conversation there when anything big happens. We all know, we go to each other's weddings, and those relationships formed during that time are so precious and amazing. And I think at that time, that is what kept me setting that 5 a.m. alarm. Was like, I'm going to go and see these people that I love hanging out with. And at the same time, I'm sort of developing this skill of bike riding.
Yeah. I think the conversations as well in exercise are really interesting. Obviously, I agree. Being side by side just makes it easier. It's like you're talking to nobody, but also there is somebody there, and that's really nice. But I also sometimes wonder if the endorphins help because they're kind of like having a loosen you up, like almost like having a drink.
Yeah.
Because that's basically what they are. They're acting on receptors in the body, similar-ish to things like heroin.
I unstoppably talk. Like, it's like sometimes I come away and I was like, I said too much.
Not when I'm around, so I don't let you get a word in.
But like the floodgates open. But I think that was so good for my mental health as well, because then what I found when I took myself out of that situation, the way sort of life worked out and the timings worked out was then we were plunged into lockdown, And I started trying to do all this bike riding, but by myself. But by myself, really. And my mental health went down the toilet. And, you know, it's one, I don't know, causality, blah, blah, blah. I don't know. It's hard to say what thing caused that, but it's very hard not to assume it was the lack of constant social, like people to just talk at. And I think that's what I needed. And then suddenly I didn't have that anymore in the same way. I had a partner and we would talk, but it's not the same. Yeah. And I suddenly was like, oh gosh, I'm not doing so well.
I think you really like to talk things through as well. I think if you're left to your own thoughts without anybody to keep them in check, they run away from you, don't they? And I think, and so there is so much value in that. So let's talk about that part of your life, because it also coincides with probably doing some of the biggest, largest challenges, biggest training blocks you ever did. Yeah. And suddenly you were doing them all on your own.
Yeah, in solitude, basically. You know, I'd be on the turbo trainer, which is the static bike. I do 4-hour blocks on there, headphones in. I might watch something, I might not.
Madness. Madness.
Because I had a coach at this time, and I was training so I became part of a team, an amateur women's team called the Internationals, whose goal was to protest about the inequality in professional road cycling. And somehow I found myself in that team again, massive imposter syndrome. Like
somehow, I wonder what it could have been. Could it have been your talent, your results, your amazing, rap sheet of incredible achievements? I don't know.
I don't know. Still don't know. Just found myself in there, and I felt so very honoured to be part of it. The year before, when I wasn't in the team yet, they'd ridden the whole route of the Tour de France a day before the pro men's peloton had gone through, and they'd self-funded the whole thing, sort of had one support car. Incredible achievement, because by the sounds of it was incredibly uncomfortable, doing all that cycling and then sleeping in usually not very good accommodation, the transfer days were very long, very uncomfortable, no real sort of support. And then sort of the second year when I joined, I was very lucky because that had obviously got a lot of attention. So now they had funding. So we were able to have sort of a support car, like a few people to help with things. We had lovely kit. We got sunglasses. It was like a little taste of being a professional athlete. And I was like, oh my gosh, how lucky am I? But of course, what came with that was, oh my gosh, don't embarrass yourself. Don't be the one that's the worst. Don't get injured and not be able to do it, because all the challenges we did were sort of dependent on all of us completing.
You were a team.
We all had to do it really for it to work. And initially we were meant to also be riding the route of the Tour de France, but because of lockdown it transpired that we couldn't, so we had to come up with this new plan, and that was to ride on static bikes as a group and cover the distance of the Tour de France in under 100 hours as a relay. And then
who came up with that?
I don't know, it wasn't me. And then having done that, 1 day rest, and then doing an Everest up a hill in Wales called the Bwlch. And
the what?
The Bwlch. It's like BWLCH.
Okay. Sorry, Welsh people.
So I'm so sorry.
We apologise.
And I had to train for that on my own, basically. So an Everest is where you do the same ascent as the height of Everest in one go on one climb. Only the vertical gain that you get during the ascent counts. So if there's any kind of ups during the descent, you have to sort of subtract that from the total. So it's just a very long day on the bike.
The people who make these rules only are interested in suffering.
Yes.
They're not interested. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's a very interesting concept, but that's another conversation.
It is. So yeah, I had a coach for this, and a lot of my training was very controlled, and it had to be in specific heart rate zones. And so living in the Peak District, it was hard to achieve that stuff outside. So I actually did end up just doing loads of things on a very controlled environment which is inside. So I did all this training by myself, and there were definitely moments in there where I got really burnt out and I'd get really upset. And I had a very understanding coach, and he was great, very scientific, but also very holistic. And I would just be like, I'm done with this. And he'd sort of let me have these weeks where he's like, go do what you want, go ride however you want, don't wear a heart rate monitor, just do what you want. And I needed those resets.
At this point, you're now becoming really actively aware of how important that mental and physical rest is.
Yeah.
I guess, and how it's needed to get you to your goal.
Yeah.
You can't cut it out.
But I seemed to need permission to rest.
You couldn't do it.
Because I would assume I was being lazy if I just.
So you knew it was important, but you needed somebody to say it was the right thing to do.
Yeah. So yeah, when we did those challenges, it was amazing, and I loved it, and I loved being in that kind of bubble of the team. And the next year we did a world record attempt, and we did Land's End to John O'Groats as a 4-woman team, and we got the world record. Woohoo! 44 hours and 3 minutes.
It's very cool
to go from Land's End to John O'Groats, and then we spent the next 8 days riding back. And I actually felt it was very nice. I sort of recovery rode my way back, and I felt better and better and better, and that was so nice, and I absolutely loved it. But I think I knew whilst I was doing that, my brain was sort of like, this is the last big thing, because I felt like I'd really put myself in quite a few holes to get there, because all this sort of the lockdown stuff and the new sort of life and place we lived had just meant that I'd ended up doing so much of the training by myself, and I realised I love this, I love cycling, but what I love about all of this is the people.
Yeah.
And what I loved when I was running was the people.
Yeah.
And the fact I was able to achieve things was like a happy accident.
Yeah.
And actually, when you took away the people, I wasn't that fussed.
It was a happy accident that you were able to achieve stuff.
Yeah.
But you were also very driven and talented, but yeah. But yeah. So that was a big turning point.
Definitely. And that was my early 30s, I think. And then I started to realise, I guess there's more to life. I'm not just a runner, actually I'm able to do other things. I started to have other priorities, I love a family, and you can be a high performing athlete and have a family. Those two things definitely can happen.
But you do need a lot of luck on your side for that. Yeah,
you need lots of things to go well. You need your body to be happy with you, and I think I started to understand that I couldn't keep pushing myself to that extent. And it wasn't, I don't think when I'm burnt out, I'm not a very nice, not a very nice person.
I mean, I've never known you to not be a nice person.
That's very kind. To, I guess, the people you're closest to get the worst, don't they? So my partner was probably getting, the worst brunt of me being in a bad mood, basically, because I was tired. I'd overdone it.
But you recognise that, which I think is super impressive. And I think ever since then you have really fought to have more balance.
Yes, and meeting you and Hetty and honestly Pete Gravel Gang being kind of a staple part of my life really helped me to find the balance of I can do this stuff, I can be outside, I can push myself up a hill, but I don't have to get up the hill first. It's really nice to get up the hill last and help someone else get up there too. There's
so many other things you can do. You don't have to do everything for yourself too. It's quite nice to realise that you can lift other people up with you. And that's really lovely, isn't it? And I think I had to learn to find joy in that again, because that is where I found joy initially. And I think we've been so lucky about the point in our lives that we met, me and you, and we met Hetty, our other friend, because it was just after this sort of turning point where you said, I need more balance. And I'm just eternally looking for that wonderful balance. And Hetty, our friend, is very much the same. We've talked about it in her episode, and I think we are really lucky that that's kind of the foundation of our friendship. I think, because that was just on the table from the beginning. It was just really clear we're all people who can hammer ourselves, but actually what we need help with is saying it's okay not to.
And I think we give that to each other. And it's something about having like a safe group of people who you feel like you can say that to you and also be that way.
Mm-hmm.
You know, turn up and be like, I'm not my best today, but
Yeah.
I know you're not going to judge me for it.
Yeah.
And I think I went through a lot of life feeling like I had to present a certain way and achieve a certain amount to be accepted.
Mm-hmm.
And so finding these groups of people and friendship groups where I'm like, I can just be and they just appreciate me for exactly how I turn up today. I think it helps, because I think it would be wrong of me to be like, I come here naturally and I'm so wise. It's like, I can also fall back on being proud of the stuff I've achieved. So I can be like, yeah, I'm not that fit right now, but I once was, you know.
And
so
you can't be every day for the rest of your life.
No.
That is an impossible thing to dream for. And the second you start to dream for that, you are going to end up in a deep dark hole. Like, that's the one thing that I would say to any person out there. Never ever aim to be at your peak fitness forevermore.
You just can't.
You can't do it. You can't.
No.
And something will happen if that's what you're aiming for, and that's the only thing that makes you feel satisfied. Something is going to happen one day that is going to ruin that for you, and it's going to be horrific.
Yeah, and and something's got to give, kind of, and it always will. And so I think my aging has made me realize that I go through these like peaks and troughs, and actually once you've been down in a trough, it's actually so fun to get back up to that peak,
and it comes back
quicker and quicker the more sensible you are.
Yeah, totally. Yeah, if you don't mess it up.
Yeah. And it takes a lot of learning, and I think that's the only reason I've got here now is like you have to learn the hard way.
Yeah.
But try and learn, and then
yeah.
And I think I still have the little, like I call it like a little demon inside me that kind of gives me a hard time sometimes, but I've learnt to tell it to be quiet, basically. And I'm like, it'll come back, everything will be okay.
Yeah.
Like, I'll find my kind of feet again, or fitness, or whatever.
And you know how you were just saying, you know, it's really important to have friends who see you as you. If you have that, wherever you found them, sometimes it's easiest to find them doing an activity, because then you can have these conversations that let you express yourself honestly. Yeah. But once you found them, whatever you decide to do, they're gonna still want you in their life.
Yeah.
I think that's really important. Me, you and Hetty, we rarely go running or cycling together.
Yeah.
Very, very rarely. The thing that links us all is we love to do those things.
Yeah.
But we actually very rarely do that. We will most commonly go for a walk.
Yeah.
We might go for a cold dip.
Yeah.
We will hang out with Hetty's little kids.
Yeah. We'll get coffee.
Yeah. How good are those activities?
So good. And you guys, you don't have to do something really hard before you go and do them.
You can just do them.
You can just do them. Oh my gosh.
And it's even and some people, they won't want another person to do that with. They need the space on their own, and that's you know, and I'm giving you permission right now, go and do it on your own. If that's what you need. But we've been really lucky, because I think that all three of us won't go and do those things on our own. We actually need each other a bit to do. I wouldn't go and do a restful activity like that, an activity that is really good for my mental and physical health, without you going with you. Yeah. And it's so good to have that, to find the person to do that with. Yeah,
because your instinct is to choose the hard thing.
Yeah, I think my instinct would be I'd go for a run or a ride or something, but it's not what I maybe needed in that moment. Yeah. Whereas going to do it with you feels so legitimate. Yeah. It feels like a thing. And also I get to see you. Yeah. Or sometimes I wouldn't go and do anything, maybe. I would do something. Maybe I'll work more. Yeah. Or I'll do another side project in that time, when actually what I needed was a break. Yeah.
Because we're adults now, and all of us have to work for a living, right? So you're working really hard all week, and that's a certain type of stress on your body. And then at the weekend, our, I think, natural instinct is like, go and do something cool and hard. And I think we sort of, for each other, have worked out, actually we need to not always do that. Sometimes it's fine, but you can't always do it. And you know, there's a lot more on us now as adults, and that sort of restful time is so important. And it's finding joy in the like restful moments. And our holiday last week hiking was a revelation. It was a revelation to me, because I've done loads of walking in my life, but I've never sort of hiked in that way
Yeah, you said when we were out, suddenly you came out with, I think I could really get into this
I was
walking
like, I love
malarkey.
this.
Yeah, and I was like, gosh, okay, it's just walking.
Yeah, but there were poles.
Yes, we had
The poles
poles
made me
in the
feel
mountains.
still different. And it was this lovely interim where it was restful and exciting and interesting all at the same time.
And very healthy for us. Like if it's healthy in every way, isn't it? Yeah, restful,
I just
but
can't
also
really see a
activity.
downside to it.
Yeah, and if you do have a little demon that needs you to move a little bit, it's tick that box.
It ticks it, because we still were like, hey, we've done this much elevation,
Yeah.
and like all of us are there with our Strava still, but it kind of is a healthy little middle ground, I think.
Yeah, but I wouldn't do it. I mean, I do go walking because I have a dog, so we have to do that.
Gotta do the walks.
But and actually I have to thank her so much for some of my healthy behaviours.
Yes.
Because it's so good for me, the walking, I think. But yeah, if it weren't for a dog or that friendship, wouldn't bother.
We all need to be more dog. They stretch every time they change
do.
position.
I think there's a lot. They stretch so many times a day.
Yeah. They sleep loads.
Yeah.
They go
hours a day
outside
or something.
every single day and they get heaps of steps because they've got 4
True.
feet. And
They live completely in the moment.
just, they're not worrying about what happened yesterday or what's going to happen tomorrow.
No.
So, there we go, guys.
That's so good.
Be more dog.
Be more dog. I think our chat has focused a lot on sport. I think that's your story, and I'm really glad that that's what we've covered. It's also something that we're really passionate about talking about.
Yeah.
And actually, it might be interesting in the future to have a more nerdy, numbery conversation.
Yeah.
Doing this again, because we really enjoy that as well. We're talking about things, rest days, training days, things like that in quite an abstract way, but me and Jess will regularly talk about it in quite a specific, down to the kind of what session are you doing running way.
Yeah, like data.
Yeah.
Which has been a big shift, because when I started running I didn't even have a watch.
Yeah.
So it's interesting now, so many apps, and now I even have kind of a rest app.
Yeah.
Do you know, like something's still
yeah.
telling me what to do to achieve the correct rest, which is probably something to delve into at another point. But yeah,
I think that you have a very lovely story, especially with where you're at, Jess, right now. You have done such a good job of coming kind of full circle from where you were when you first started running, and it was a pure joy and you were making friends, and you probably did loads of just healthy frivolous activities. You know, when you're a kid, that's what you do. You don't think about these, you don't think about where is this activity getting me, what will it achieve me. You just go out, you're like, I want to go play in the park. You know, I'm going to play in the park. And so it's been really, really enjoyable to explore that. Thank you very much for your time and your wise words.
Thanks for having me.
Thank you.